All right, thank you. The music is, I hope everyone has enjoyed their lunch. Yeah, at this time we want to have Gina Norton-Smith come up and to take us through the fabulous CRRJ archives and kind of give you a sense of what that actually looks like and how you'll be able to use it. I can't tell you how excited I am to show you this. And you know, but I'm going to say it again. I am Gina Norton-Smith, and I am the project archivist for the Burnham Nobles Digital Archive. I have the honor of presenting this archive to you, explaining what it is, how it was built, and showing you how you can use it to further your understanding of these events and how they fit into the story of the 20th century. But first, let me say, although I'm the person making the presentation, this archive represents the work of hundreds of people investigating anti-Black killings with CRRJ and a dedicated team of people for the last 2.5 years focused solely on building the archive as you see it now on the website. This was a true team effort, and I'm happy to go into more detail about the team and the work that went into building it after my presentation. But I do want to call out one person, and that is my partner in doing this work, Raymond Wilkes, who you've heard many people call out, and that's for a reason, because Raymond was instrumental in doing work at CRRJ while I worked at the library to get the records and the data together so that everything works. The Burnham Nobles Digital Archive is a resource dedicated to identifying, classifying, and providing factual information and documentation about anti-Black killings in the mid-century South. Identifying, classifying, providing factual information and documentation. These aren't just empty words. These are the things that make this archive a valuable addition to existing scholarship, the research to identify records, to identify incidents, to classify them based on criteria, collecting and providing the primary source documents that tell the story of what happened, combined with analysis and interviews and insights from family members, witnesses, and other scholars. Documentation which is made available to users. You can read the records yourself, not just read our conclusions. Understanding the breadth and depth of the CRRJ Digital Archive as a resource requires that we step back and explain what the website allows users to access. The archive currently contains more than 13,000 records, with several thousand more yet to be processed. And as you know, the CRRJ investigations continue, and they continue to collect and gather more evidence. These investigations have been extensive research reviewing records that are federal, state, and from local archives, as well as newspaper archives, both the predominantly white newspapers and historically Black newspapers. They've reviewed records at the National Archives and Records Administration, such as the FBI and Department of Justice records, the Library of Congress, such as NAACP and other advocacy groups, like the Civil Rights Congress. They've also traveled to state and local archives and found governor's papers, police reports, coroner's records, trial records, property records, and deeds. The archive also contains records and images shared by family members. But what sets this archive apart isn't just the collection of records. You can find records lots of places. But what you'll find here is more than that. We've applied 3 metadata schemes to each record and incident. If you aren't familiar with the term metadata, what that means is you can think of it as tagging. You know, if you're looking through your own photo collection and you're trying to get it organized, you might tag it with, this particular photograph has family members in it. This particular photograph comes from an event, a special family event. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Working with Professor Burnham, Chancellor Nobles, and Rose Zeltic-Jick, we spent months capturing the information about the individuals and the incidents, looking at the records, thinking about what information they presented. What could we pull out of those records? We created our data dictionary, which includes the elements that you will be able to use to search for information in the archive. But one note is, this is version 1. So what do I mean by that? This is a screenshot of the metadata page for Mr. O.D. Henderson. This is person page. And those things on the side, beside his portrait, are things that we've pulled out about him to help tell the story of who he was, about his life. But the metadata that we have on individuals goes beyond just that basic demographic information of, name, age, sex, race. In developing this archive, we had as a priority describing the victims as whole people, not as data points. So we included more information, such as their occupations, whether they were veterans or active military. And each incident has a descriptive narrative of the events, which contains more information about the victim's story. But most importantly, we worked to find the correct name for each victim. The incident metadata covers information such as characterizations of a location, occupations of the perpetrator, the alleged perpetrator, whether there was a trial, was there a conviction, was there a sentence? Finally, there's the document metadata. This contains information about the record itself, which incident it concerns, which type of record it is, who created it, and the source from which CRRJ retrieved the record. We've targeted 4 of our 21 record types, which we refer to as genres, for full bibliographic cataloging. And those 4 are death certificates, news articles, federal agency records, and advocacy group records. Those are the records that show that there was a death, and they tell more of the story of what happened, of the incident. Just as a for instance, in NAACP records, you will often find not just the records of what the officers of the NAACP did, but you will find letters from family members or witnesses or other advocates. So it is a very, very rich source of information. This is the document metadata for Mr. Henderson's death certificate. We have completed cataloging a significant number of our target records, but this is the most labor-intensive part of processing the records, and that is ongoing. For our users, this metadata means that when you perform a search on the website, you can make your search broad or use the facets or tags to narrow the scope of your search. So let's try a search. So this is the home page. And we looked at the screenshots of some of Mr. Henderson's information. Let's see what that looks like on the live website. So I typed in the search bar, Henderson. This is the result. We see on the left-hand side of the page, we see a menu of items. And then we see the record type. So that would be victim, document, or incident information. Those are the three types. Right at the top is the page for Mr. Henderson. So I'm going to click on that. This is the victim page for Mr. Henderson. We see the metadata that we already saw about him on that screenshot. And now we can see there's a link for us to go to the incident page to learn about, get to read the narrative about what happened. And we're starting to see a list of documents that are associated with that incident. You'll notice that the documents are listed by category, so you can see what type of records we have. Okay. I'm just going to click on So in order for you to actually, you can see this document here. This is an official copy of Mr. Henderson's death certificate obtained directly from the state of Alabama. If you click on this link here, you will go to the digital repository where you can see full screen representation, image of that record, and you, after you register, you can download that and make that document part of your research files. Okay. So we did a search. I want to show you what a browse looks like. So I'm going to go back to the home page. There's the search bar, and here are the browsers. Some people won't know what they want to start with. They don't have a name. They don't have a location. They just want to look around. So this is where browse comes into play. Let's do a browse of incidents. So we have 923 incidents processed so far. And what I'm going to do is show you how you can use, once you start to browse, you can use this menu on the left to start to narrow things down. So let's think about an incident that took place on public transportation. So I'm going to go down here to the incident type, the location type, excuse me. And this is our control vocabulary. So I'm going to look for public conveyance. These are the cases that took place on public conveyances, buses, trains, that kind of thing, trolleys. The one that I want is this one. So this is an incident page. It starts with the narrative at the top. I'm going to give you a moment so you can read that for yourself. Charlie Curley, 1924 to 1947, a construction worker and a veteran, was killed by policeman Nolan O. Ray in Dallas, Texas. Ray, who was out of uniform and appears to have been off duty at the time of the incident, shot Curry on a Dallas trolley bus. Ray told all of the black passengers on the bus to take their hands out of their pockets. According to police reports, Curry was sitting towards the back of the trolley, and some witnesses claimed that Curry was asleep at the time of Ray's demand. When Curry did not take his hands out of his pocket, Ray shot him in the face. He was killed instantly. The trial jury acquitted Ray of murder without malice. Before I move on, one thing I want to point out to you is that you see on the box on the right-hand side, takes you to the data dictionary. If you don't understand what we mean by a term, how we've defined it, you can click on that from any page and it'll take you right to that page so you can see. So I want to open up a record here. Let's see. The police report. You heard in the narrative about what was in the police report. Here it is. So I've clicked on this, I've gone to the digital repository, and I'm going to open up the file. At this point, you can download it for yourself. You can read it. It's multiple pages. And there is one page in particular I want to share with you. The police conducted a quite thorough investigation according to this police report. And let's see, this one. Witness interview that says Mr. Curley was asleep when the policeman who was not in uniform gave that order and he was shot. So I wanted to show you this incident, the information about this incident, because CRRJ obtained that police report, and you can read it for yourself. So if we go back to the homepage, I just want to point out one thing about the difference between the search and the browse, because it's important, about the process of what we did to make these records findable and usable. One thing we did with the records that CRRJ gave us in the library is we did something called we processed the records using optical character recognition. So that means that we took the text that was in the document and made it a separate file that you can search. So there are the things that we've decided to pull out, all of those elements. But there are other things in those records that you might be interested in. You might be interested in a different location for incidents that happened. You might be interested in people who were working in different industries or other information that we didn't capture. That's what optical character recognition allows you to do, is to search the text, the contents of that document, and you can do that using the search box. So I hope you see some possibilities for what you want to know and how you want to use the information, but I want to point out just a couple more things about the website beyond the ability to search and look at things. The methodology page. This is where you can find out about the analysis, what went into it, the scope of the project. And there's some very thoughtful essays about how CRRJ goes about its work, what this archive represents, the place that they hope that it will reside in history and research. And as I said, you can also see the data dictionary. So I encourage you to read all of these essays. What you'll see here on this terms and definition page is our 50-plus element data dictionary, but you should know that the full data dictionary is over 180 elements, but that wasn't going to make it to version 1. So you can read about what our classifications are and our definitions. This microphone stand does not like me.
I was able to lean it against the side of my laptop. It's not if you can move that to the left.
I'm hoping the tape will hold it for just another moment.
Okay.
So, one thing we ask users to do is register. We would like to help you with your research. We'd like to be in community with you in your research. And your registration, we ask you for a, let's see. Just some information to help us know who is using this. How is this helpful? And this will be information to help us with version 2. What do we need to do to make this more useful to people? And the other thing that registration will allow you to do is to download the full data set. So let me say that again. It will allow you to download the full data set, all of our elements, all of the data that we've collected in analysis. You can download that as a package. And I think that's all I wanted to show you.